A blessing of life for life. When Nachum had told Rabbi Moshe Gershon of his choice, the latter gave him his blessing that it should be as Nachum wished. Before a year had passed since the rabbi's blessing, Devorah realized one day that she was pregnant with a child, but she hesitated to tell her husband. She was worried lest the child would share the same fate as the unfortunate children of her first marriage. When 3 months had passed by, Devorah decided she would not be able to hide her pregnancy much longer, so she might as well tell her husband. She came to him and told him joyfully of the news, hiding her fears from him. He too received the welcome news very gladly, although he knew this meant he would soon die. He remembered that Rabbi Moshe Gershon had offered him a choice of three blessings: long life, wealth, or a child. Well, his business was, if anything, more flourishing than before, and here was the promise of a child. God be praised. So obviously it meant that he would soon have to meet the giver of life in death. He said nothing of this to his wife, whom he loved and did not wish to pain, but again retired to his old ways, his life of solitude spent in prayer, contemplation, and study. Nachum removed himself completely from the society of his fellow beings and devoted all his time to teshuvah, in preparation for his departure from earthly life to meet his Maker. Each day found him weaker and weaker, but whenever he came out of his room to Devorah, he tried to appear as if nothing wrong was happening. His death came quickly, to the great grief of his devoted wife and to the sorrow of the whole Jewish community of Vitebsk, who all mourned the passing of this great personality. In due time, Devorah gave birth to a girl who she named Nechama, after her husband Nachum. According to his will, his property and possessions were to be divided into three parts: the first part to go to charity, the second part to his wife Devorah, and a third to his child. He also left a sealed letter, which was to be opened when the child would reach the age of bar mitzvah, not before. Devorah brought up her daughter along the same lines as her own upbringing, providing her with private teachers so that she would eventually become a Torah scholar like herself. She supervised her training generally so that she should be a worthy daughter of Israel. Meanwhile, Devorah continued to manage her late husband's business with the same success as before, and she distributed charity with a generous hand. It was now 25 years since her arrival in Vitebsk, and there was a vast improvement in the city's Jewish population in a spiritual and cultural sense. There were many more Talmud Torahs now, and the number of pupils at the yeshiva had increased enormously. They were mostly from the town itself and surrounding districts. The town had also by now attracted a fair number of scholars. Particularly noticeable, however, was the unbelievable change among the women of Vitebsk. Now they were all able to daven, and with the help of the Tzena Arena and other Techinas in Yiddish, had acquired an increasing knowledge of important Jewish matters. When the time of Nechama's bar mitzvah came, the sealed letter left by her father before his death was opened, and it was then they learned that Nachum had known that in receiving the blessing of having a child to continue after him, he himself would have to die. The letter directed that Devorah should establish a yeshiva in the name of their child, and that the cost and maintenance should be provided for from the funds of the child's inheritance.